Welcome to Just Curious Media. This is Zen Dog Training, a show dedicated to helping people train the dogs they love. I'm Jason Connell.
And I'm Gordon Fontaine.
Gordon, we are back, my friend, and tackling, this is a huge topic, I must say, and the title cracks me up, and I'll let you share it with the listeners.
Help! My dog won't stop barking.
It's funny because it's true. And sometimes it's not even your dog. It's someone else's dog.
Yes.
But we're going to get into the origin or the backstory or the history of barking.
I want to talk a little bit about what barking is and how it is actually an important form of communication.
Yes.
And then talk about some methods to solve excessive barking.
We are all ears, Gordon. We need to know this information. I am fascinated. So I always tried to do certain things that my dog barked back in the day when I was raising them. Unless it was needed, I was trying to put it out, but I didn't have a dog that was an excessive barker.
Good.
That's a whole other thing.
You
know firsthand.
I do.
Let's delve in, my friend.
Well, first, I just want to say that, dogs are barking as a way to communicate or even talk to other dogs and us. And your dog is this super sensitive creature that can hear and smell and sense in ways that we can't even imagine. And so the bark is something that can alert the pack, us, of a potential danger and alert the intruder or the other person they've been spotted. It's a very valuable thing that your dog has developed, I'm guessing, over many, many years.
Right. Yeah. So we don't want it to be completely gone, but
it's never going to go completely away.
Yes, exactly.
But excessive barking is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. And so the first thing I want to talk about is that you really have to know what kind of barking you're dealing with to determine what solution.
Okay. So let's go over some of the different type of barks.
Yeah, absolutely. So like some dogs are barking because they're nervous or they're overly protective.
Yeah.
That's like a scared dog bark, okay? Which is totally different than demand barking.
Yes.
They're asking you, they're demanding something, woof, 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 let me out, do something, open the door, look at me. And then some dogs bark when they're like angry or upset, like reactive dogs. And that's going to be like the hardest to change. The one that's the most common with a terrier and that's the hardest to change would be what we'd call alert barking. And that's when your dog sees something and their first instinct is, whoa. It's really tough for someone who, for example, has especially a little terrier that has a lot of voice, that their first instinct, my dog's first instinct is, whoa, 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 whoa. And that could be like, hey, I see another dog. I want to be friends. But to someone who's used to a quiet dog.
Totally.
It's like jarring and it doesn't compute because some dogs don't have a strong alert bark. They're more bred to be like quiet and watch. For example, a German Shepherd.
And I've had both of the dogs you just described, and they weren't barkers, but if they did bark, there was good reason.
Yes, so, as opposed to just an alert, like, hey, I hear something outside. Whoa,
totally.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that's really fascinating and well put for sure.
And I don't want to forget the other types of barking. There's barking when left alone, like due to separation anxiety. There's excitement barking. There's barking when dogs are frustrated. I'm probably missing a ton of them here, but I just want to just say that you can think how varied the different types of barking are just to these 5 or 6 examples we talked about.
Exactly.
And so most people want to reduce excessive barking.
Yeah.
And the solution you choose has to be tailored or customized to the type of barking you're dealing with. So I've got a puppy class right now, and I've got a couple of real attentive parents.
Okay.
And so they're great in class. They're kind of type A's. They're reading the homework ahead of time.
Helicopter parents.
A little bit. Just they're doing the homework, right? But their dog has learned to bark for their attention.
Okay.
Because their go-to solution is to treat the dog like a child, and they look them in the eyes and go, hey, no, what are you doing? Or even just like, was your water bowl empty? I'll get that for you. Or is your ball under the couch? I'm going to get that for you. So these dogs have learned that barking gets their owners to respond to them.
Sure.
So that kind of demand barking is best addressed with some of those shunishment type techniques.
Yep.
And before I say that, if you're a listener, remember, shunishment only works if you also can interrupt. If you just go, oh, I'm going to ignore it and turn my back, and then the bark and bark and bark and bark, that's not it. That's not it. You have to create a teachable moment where ignoring them actually is effective. You can't just pretend to ignore the barking and not change it. So I definitely recommend gently interrupting, creating a teachable moment, then working on the crate training, for example, where they can bark in the crate and vocalize and whine, and they're learning that doesn't affect you.
Yep.
So some of the independence training, some of the crate training techniques pairs very well for solving demand barking.
Do you have clients, Gordon, ever just say, I don't know why he's barking. I don't know what's going on here. And then you've got to determine, like, they don't even really know what the dog is after. They're just kind of, it's out of their league.
A lot of times. Yeah. And I mean, that's par for the course. I need to sort of diagnose what's going on. And as we mentioned before, the thing that's the most common is the dog is fearful and nervous.
Okay.
So I saw this wonderful dog named Mochi.
Great name.
Great name. He was like a Bernedoodle, like all these curly hair and great colors, great markings. And this dog was barking at noises outside of the apartment.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, all right, we can work on it. We can work with distraction techniques. We can work on gently interrupting. But my gut said that this dog was fearful.
Right.
Hadn't been socialized enough. They didn't do one of my puppy classes.
Right.
So took this dog out on a walk. And I mean, you could just like touch a trash can and he would jump. Skittish.
Wow. Yes.
Right. So they didn't do any of this stuff that we recommend that we've talked about in other episodes where you go out of your way to give your dogs treats for confidence as you kind of like push the boundaries of what they experience outside, trucks, traffic, people, noises, and you do the treats. They never truly socialized this dog. So Mochi was more apt to bark at night and bother the neighbors and wake him up with the alert, protective bark because she's just nervous on the inside.
And now it's dark outside and who knows what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And so it often means that you have multiple plans at the same time.
Okay.
So Mochi's owner had to learn how to gently interrupt. He had to learn how to do the desensitization and counter conditioning exercises because at 1 a.m. when she's barking at people in the hallway, it's not time for fancy footwork.
No. How is Mochi doing, if I may ask?
Well, it was only yesterday. But
on the road to success, Mochi.
On the road to success. I think they're doing great because he was really open to these ideas. Yeah. And we saw a person who was kind of maybe triggering. And so I practiced with him stepping on the leash and being like, hey, neighbor, oh, great day for a walk. And as Mochi's like kind of eyeing this strange looking guy with he had a bunch of stuff going on. He was things that might be unusual to Mochi. Sure. And was having the owner jam treats in Mochi's mouth. So that Mochi's association becomes like, oh, things that go bump in the night, people who don't look and act the way my owner does are all something that I can relax about.
Yeah.
And I get treats. It's totally fine.
That's great. And this is right on topic. So that's fantastic. And just yesterday. So
yeah. So some of that fear reactive barking and even the alert barking can be reduced with the treats for confidence and the basic training.
Fantastic.
Which is different than demand barking, as we said earlier, which is more like, how do I ignore it? How do I create situations where the dog doesn't bark and get something?
Yeah.
Jason, we may have talked about this before, but we talked about how I never use the bells for peeing, for getting dogs to go pee outside.
Many, many episodes ago, we spoke about it, and you were not a fan.
Never a fan, because I don't want a relationship where the dog goes to the bell and goes ding, 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 ding.
Trains the owner.
And trains you. Never.
Yeah.
Because it just breaks that relation. I want my dog to listen to me, not tell me what to do.
Exactly.
And so the demand barking is identifying times where your dog is trying to bark and vocalize to get you to respond to them and not feeding into it.
Yeah.
Which could be interrupting it. It could be structuring some shunishment techniques. I don't have time to solve them all today, but
come on, Gordon.
But the one that's the sort of the hardest to work on and that's the most near and dear to my heart is the alert barking.
Yes. Okay.
So these Jack Russells, these Terriers, these Yorkies, they hear a leaf fall and they're just bark, 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 bark. And so that's the hardest to reduce because it's in their DNA.
Sure.
To make some noise when they notice something.
Yep.
And
alert the bigger dogs.
alert the bigger dogs, right? With the Tibetan Spaniel.
Mm-hmm.
They would guard where the monks were in Tibet, and I guess they would wake the Tibetan Mastiffs to protect the monastery.
Exactly.
Gotta
Guys,
love
get
that.
up, get up, get up. I'm going to be annoying until you get up and
Cute
protect
little
us.
thing that sits on your lap that makes all this noise to alert the Mastiffs to like get up and protect. So there's some real important reasons why they do it.
Absolutely.
My point is, I don't think we'll eliminate the initial bark. But if you have a nice way to refocus your dog, oh, look at me. Oh, yeah, that was a car. Good girl. Come on, let's go. And they can stop barking and focus on you.
Yeah.
That's treatable.
Yep.
And that's what I want to highlight in the alert barking and any kind of situation like barking at the window, right? If they stop barking and come to you, definitely say yes and give them a treat. And people will question this of like, oh, I don't want to reward them for barking. Rewarding them for barking would be going to them saying, yes, good girl, and then putting treats in their mouth as they continue to stare and bark.
Yeah.
But if your dog chooses to listen to you, looks away from the window, comes all the way to you, I would say, yes, good girl, and reward it.
Absolutely.
The next thing I do, though, is I would manage by either using the indoor leash or closing the window or doing something so that the barking doesn't happen over and over.
Yeah, take that stimulus out of play.
Right. And I think that's where people mess up. They like come to me, give them a treat, and then let the dog do it again over and over again. And that's not it either.
Yeah.
And so
that's fantastic. And obviously you mentioned, I mean, you have a fearful dog who barks. If you start correcting that, they're more likely to bark less, I'm assuming.
Well, no, if you have a fearful dog and you try to correct it, they might lose that valuable communication skill. Like, let's just say your dog starts to growl at kids. Okay. And the horrified owner says, oh my God, they start leash jerking or correcting their dog. And so what does the dog think? Well, they think it's not okay to tell my owner that I'm upset and worried. So they stop growling. They stop barking. But what happens is on the inside, they're no more confident. They're still worried.
Yeah. And
so you lose this valuable communication because you extinguish the external thing like stop barking, stop growling, but you never solve the fact that your dog's nervous with kids. However, what happens if they can't growl? What happens if they can't bark? Yeah. Right? The next thing they do is bite. Yep. They only have like, I don't know,
choices.
How many choices? There's like a quiet growl, a loud growl, a bark, and a lunge, and then a bite. The spectrum of actions are very small. So if you get rid of the growling and the barking by correcting it away from your dog without solving the underlying problem, you might lose some of these signals that says your dog's feeling really uncomfortable and then accidentally put your dog in a situation where something bad happens because your dog wasn't comfortable telling you how they felt.
Yeah, in a worse position. Absolutely. But in Mochi's case, that's the right path. That's the right way.
Mochi was
comfortable.
She was more about desensitization of the kids and the trucks and the traffic, and then gently interrupting like, let's go. But there's this tendency, like you're on a walk, your dog sees a kid, they hear a little grrr, and they're like, no. And that's the wrong approach.
Right.
Because you're thinking, oh, good. And then I want my owners to be thinking, well, what was the trigger? Yeah. Oh, it's a kid wearing a hoodie. Oh, it's the guy with the sunglasses. And then we can work on structuring situations to fix and change the emotional feeling, the emotional state about those triggers.
You're right about that, Gordon. I think intuitively, you jerk, you think kid, and we don't even think about what they see and what the triggers were. That's really a great point.
Yeah, the whole thing about Zen Dog Training is that we're trying to take the Zen path of seeing the world from your dog's point of view, putting aside our worldview and putting ourselves in deep understanding of how our dog sees the world. And then from there, we choose a training path.
Yeah.
Not just choke, jerk, stop it. Because it's not Zen, but it also doesn't necessarily address the underlying issue.
Yeah. That's great. Well, Gordon, this has been fantastic. Stuff I never knew about barking, all the different variables and reasons and how to cope with them because, as the episode is entitled, Help, My Dog Won't Stop Barking, this is going to attract people because this is an ongoing problem.
It is an issue and it needs to be reduced. Excessive barking needs to be reduced, but solving the underlying issue is what truly fixes excessive barking.
Yeah. Well
not just a
said.
Band-Aid or a correction.
Well, a fantastic episode. Please, please, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It greatly helps the show stand out and gain a bigger audience, help more people. Also, go to zendogtraining.net for all the wonderful material that's up there, tutorials, videos, etc. And check out Just Curious Media for all the other shows we produce. Gordon, until next time, my friend, wonderful job.
Thank you, Jason.